What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
And Carrie.
What's up?
Both of whom are feeling considerably better than they were last week, and I am feeling considerably better than I was yesterday. So now we are all well, and this episode is all about the Summer Game Fest. Very, very important. It's that singular game. It's not Games Fest, even though people keep pronouncing it that way. We're going to start by kind of going over the, not detailing them, but kind of giving our thoughts on the main four presentations in general, and then we'll talk about some of the games that we are the most interested in that are going to be coming out over the next several months and or years. All in all, what did you guys think about the Summer Game Fest this year? Was it an acceptable alternative to the forever now dead and never coming back E3?
I mean, keeping in mind that, like, this was occurring while I was at Magstock. So this was occurring while I was in the woods with no service. So I didn't get to watch any of this live. I had a really good time at Magstock, by the way. Different story. I'll talk about it more next week. I mean, I think it says a lot that, like, I don't know, like, even when I was sort of checking my phone, there wasn't really anything that people really seemed to be, like, freaking out about. Like, there wasn't any sort of, like, oh my god, this got announced kind of thing. It was all just sort of, like, generally expected across the board. I don't know that there were any big surprises. I don't know. For me, it's never going to have the same kind of excitement about it that E3 tended to have. There's a lot of stuff that I think looks really mid. There's only a handful of things. Yeah, there's only a handful of things that I would say I'm, like, truly excited about. And even then, a lot of these things were announced outside of Summer Game Fest and maybe had a more in-depth, trailer at Game Fest, or maybe had, like, the release date finalized there, but there wasn't anything that took me by surprise. It's like an, oh shit, I need that kind of deal. So for me, it's just sort of like it's sort of a shrug. It was like I didn't get to watch anything live, but I also don't feel like I missed literally anything by not catching it live, so.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I didn't really get a chance to watch a lot of this stuff live. Last year was such a great year. And in this industry, when you have a really great year, the next year is kind of stink. And
I mean, I don't know that
it started off well, and maybe not stink, right? Maybe not.
Stink,
right?
You can't have a 2023 every fucking year, right? Like,
right. Yeah. Right. And it just is. This seems like it's going to be an okay year. It's fine. It was. What's that word you young people use? Middling, middle of the road. I think it'll be fine. I'm in large agreement with you, Carrie, that, like, the stuff that I did see, I wasn't exactly, like, blown away by. Like, yep, that sure looks like Assassin's Creed. Like, I'm gonna get it, but, like, yeah, that it is what it is. And stuff like, oh, here's this new game. Like, this is like a 5-minute cutscene, guys. Like, I'm getting worried, right? And then, I know a hero shooter when I see a hero shooter, and lo and behold, it's a hero shooter. So, but look, there's still some stuff that I'm looking forward to, and we'll and some stuff that I have some questions about, but we'll get into it.
I think, like I said, I think 2024 kept the momentum from 2023 early this year. Like, I think we all ate pretty well over the first half of the year. And I was expecting that momentum to continue, and it doesn't seem like it is. I feel like with this whole weekend, everybody had, like, one or two games that they're really looking forward to for the back half of the year, and then everything else you couldn't care less about. And I'm glad that everyone has their one or two.
Yeah.
But again, like, to that point, like, we have a list of about, I don't know, 15 games that we're going to highlight specifically. And I don't have a lot to say about the ones that I put on the list. Just that, like, hey, it looks good. I'm excited. Like there's not a whole lot of detail to shed on a lot of those games. So we will get into that. The first show technically happened a couple weeks ago, but because we were off, we didn't get a chance to talk about it. And that was Sony's State of Play for the month of May, which was basically their Summer Games Fest showcase.
Yep.
And again, aside from one big surprise announcement that had been rumored for a long time, this show was the absolute definition of mid. We're not going to talk about it later, but they spent a lot of time up top talking about Concord, the new game from Firewalk Studios that is coming out. And man, oh man, does that look like a Titan Watch or an Overfall or whatever, whichever combination of portmanteau of games that already exists. They're like, the movement looked very Destiny-esque. I just don't know how much room there is in the market for another one of these like hero shooters unless Concord just comes out of the gate and is fucking phenomenal. So we'll see on that as time comes along. But yeah.
And I don't really know, they have this gimmick of like, every week you can log in and look at a new cutscene that progresses some nebulous story forward as you do your dailies. And I don't know, man. Like, these games aren't for me. And I don't know what's worse, like an original IP using this or an established IP using this. I think the established IP using this is a little more gross and egregious.
Ironically, I feel like Marvel Rivals caught less heat than Concord did, even though, like, when we saw Concord, we're like, oh man, like, this is so Overwatch, it hurts. And then we saw Marvel Rivals, and we're like, oh no, this is literally Overwatch. Like, that's what this game is. Like, it's Overwatch with destructible environments. Holy shit. Like, it's incredible how much they're copying from Overwatch. Just, I mean, aesthetic, game, like, style, gameplay, it's insane. But I guess because it's Marvel, it gets the hall pass to do that.
And this is how I know I'm not, like, I don't have a problem, because, like, I'm not gonna buy this. Like, I'm not gonna play this, and I'm a whore for.
But Mike, I'm pretty sure Marvel is gonna be free to play, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not gonna play it. I'm not.
Yeah?
I'm not gonna play it. No, I'm not gonna play it. I don't like these type of games. I really don't. I really don't like these types of games. This art style is not really doing it for me. It's it's aggressively generic, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I don't. No, this is not for me.
Cool. We'll talk about a couple games from this showcase a little bit later on. But again, from an overall standpoint, I was checking my phone about halfway through the presentation from Sony until they got to the last two things that they announced. Then they had my attention. But other than that, I fell off pretty bad. Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest show proper was interesting. He funnily enough, Jeff Keighley did his best, I think, to set expectations prior to the show about, like, hey, we're not going to have like a one more thing. Like, it's going to be a lot of smaller games that are coming out this year. Nothing insane probably that you haven't seen. Like, he was doing his best to set expectations, and it's probably a good thing he did, because I feel like that the reaction to this showcase could have been more harsh than it actually was. There
wasn't a whole hell of a lot going on.
I was positively bored during this 2-hour presentation that Jeff Keighley did.
Yeah, I didn't watch it live. I actually didn't watch it at all. I looked at a text recap online and watched the handful of trailers of things that I actually gave a shit about. Also, side note, can we talk about how much it costs to exhibit at Game Fest? Because it came out like last week, like in the lead up to Game Fest, that a 1-minute trailer costs $250,000, and that this is the same as what Geoff charges for the Game Awards.
Mm-hmm.
This is not sustainable. Like,
I think
no wonder that Nintendo and Sony and other companies will simply just do their own thing rather than pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for the sake of showing a trailer. Where's that money going?
I mean, it goes towards running the presentation. Plus, I'd be surprised if everybody was paying that. Like, I can imagine that that's the big guys are probably paying that stuff. But I would imagine that a lot of the folks that get time on Jeff Keighley stuff probably either have lower rates or maybe aren't even paying at all. Like, yeah, Riot can afford to pay, $500,000 to show a Valorant console release. That's fine. That's a drop in the bucket for them. EA can pay to have Tim Robinson do some weird sketch to introduce the new skate game. I don't necessarily know that, some of these more indie titles that are coming up, I don't necessarily know that those guys are putting in that kind of money just to get their thing showed off.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised.
Well, I think it's goofy as shit, and I don't know that it's I don't know that enables Summer Game Fest to be sustainable when you have the major console publishers holding their own events, and Jeff can't really do anything to get them on board with exhibiting at Game Fest. Regardless, there were a handful of things at Game Fest that I thought had interesting trailers, but again, these are things like Monster Hunter Wilds and Metaphor Fantazio that have been announced.
Well, also Metaphor also had a deeper dive after the Game Fest thing that they went into. So yeah, that was the thing. I can't think of anything that was like brand new that got announced during Jeff's show that was major. Like, there are a couple of games that got announced during his show that I'm interested in, but nothing that's like a big AAA, thing that we hadn't yet heard of or seen prior to that. Like I said, I just thought it was really long, and just, I don't know, for some reason it just felt kind of excruciating to me this year. And I've never really felt that way about any of the Summer Games Fest stuff that he's done so far. So that was a bit unfortunate, and kind of a dire note to leave, to kind of start off the weekend proper as we did. Let's take a quick break, and then we will cover up the rest of the shows, and then start talking about some games. So, a lot of wondering about what Microsoft would do. Obviously, the creators of a lot of bad press over the past several weeks and months. Microsoft's laying off a lot of employees, closing studios. So, like I said, we were very curious to see what kind of show they would give. By and large, most people agreed that they were kind of the belle of the ball this weekend, just in terms of how their show was paced, the things they showed off, some of the surprises that they had, a good balance of third and first party stuff. I will note a lot of games that they showed off were just as the cock tease trailers, not really showing gameplay, but just kind of showing scope and in-engine presentations and things like that. A
lot of expansion packs also at the Microsoft. So
I mean, look, I am a basic bitch. I will tell you, I've been playing the shit out of Diablo in this new season, and if there's one thing Blizzard has never lost the ability to do, it is to cut a really good opening cinematic that fucking gets you hype and gets you in it. And that Vessel of Hatred cinematic was not as good, I think, as the Diablo 4 opening cinematic. I think the Diablo 4 one is like an all-timer, but still pretty good, pretty evocative. And so I'm excited for that. I really did think, like, with the World of Warcraft thing, that we might have gotten the outside console release, but no, they were just showing off the new expansion that's coming off later this year. But yeah, like I said, I think Microsoft was the most well balanced. They are the ones who actually had surprises to share this weekend. We'll talk about Perfect Dark later. I don't think any of us were expecting to see what we saw from Perfect Dark, which that looked like actual gameplay, and of course the big Gears announcement at the end. But I do agree. I think that they were probably the best of the big presentations that happened this weekend.
So far, I know everyone's still sort of expecting there to be a Nintendo Direct sometime within the next week too. So we'll see what
Correct.
happens on that front.
Yep. I mean, Nintendo could easily just drop the bomb by revealing the new Switch for the first time if they wanted to. So
No, because we know that that's not happening though.
Okay.
Like they have literally they have said we are doing a thing in June. We are working on the new console, but we're not talking about it on the next Nintendo Direct. Please do not get your hopes up. We're not going to talk about it. So no, they could just say fucking talk about it anyway. But I think it's
yeah.
it's
That
really
sounds like someone who's about to talk about it.
yeah, I will say I think my favorite thing, and I noticed it a lot because I watched that Metaphor Fantazio deep dive. The Japanese tendency to be like, please look forward to this, or we hope you're excited, in every presentation, just makes me laugh now whenever I hear it. It's hilarious.
literally. So on May 6th, the president of Nintendo, Furukawa, went on the official Nintendo Twitter and said, "This is Furukawa, president of Nintendo. We will make an announcement about the successor to the Nintendo Switch within this fiscal year. It has been over 9 years since we announced the existence of the Nintendo Switch. We will be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding Nintendo Switch software lineup for the latter half of 24. But please be aware there will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during that presentation." Official announcement. We're not talking about it. We're talking about Switch software for 2024. Don't ask us about the Switch 2 yet.
On the other hand, sales is all about misdirection. So
Also true.
So we'll
That
see.
being said, I don't expect it to happen.
And finally, this year's winner for the could have been an email presentation of the weekend was Ubisoft, who had 2 games to show, and I literally could not tell you a single other thing that was in that presentation aside from Star Wars and from Assassin's Creed. Not one thing.
Yeah, 3 Prince of Persia games. The latest coming out in 2026.
Oh,
what
good.
is the point?
Sick.
What is the point?
Just to let you know, but they're riding that Prince of Persia momentum. They got the IP back in the public eye again. So why not announce now that?
I think it's more didn't they announce that fucking Sands of Time remake a couple years ago anyway? So now I think that's more about resetting customer expectations more than anything else. That's sort of my read on it. Rather, it's not like this isn't the first time they've talked about the fact that they're trying to remake Sands of Time in a meaningful way. So I think this is more I know that game's had some big hiccups in the development cycle. So I think this is more about them just being look, we're still working on it. Later, it's happening way later. Don't ask us about it now.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I guess it's fucking Star Wars Outlaws is a thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Outside of that, who gives a shit?
Yeah, you're right. This is the perfect title. It could have been an email, with bullet point, with 4 bullet points.
They could have just really showed half an hour presentations each separately for Outlaws and for Assassin's Creed and just called it a day. That probably would have been more effective than what they did. With this presentation, because they ended up doing the bigger looks later with those 2 games anyway. And then they let press cover them, and the press coverage has more, has B-roll that would have been better served as those presentations regardless. So I don't know what they were doing. You know what? We're here. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed. Despite myself, it is one of the games that I'm looking most forward to through the end of this year, I would say. It is, and I don't mean to say this because obviously there still definitely is the Assassin's Creed DNA, but Micah, correct me if I'm wrong, they're not copying off of Ghost of Tsushima, but they're definitely looking over their shoulder in class and borrowing a few things.
Yeah, they are. And instead of, your main character being the one that can choose whether or not to go in full force or to take a stealthy approach, they just, divided it into two people. I mean, look, it looks like Assassin's Creed, man. And look, at this point, this franchise is what, 20, 25 years old or something like that?
Hmm.
Like, I'm not expecting a bunch of new stuff, especially when did Origins come out? That was the breakthrough. And they're gonna
2017, I think.
yeah, so
Jeez.
they're gonna ride that until 2027 at
Mm-hmm.
least, before they feel like they're gonna have to redo the formula again. But it's they take the Assassin's Creeds that everyone like really likes and put it in a setting that everyone really likes, and made two characters that like white dudes hate. Um, but it
Oh.
it's fine. It looks like Assassin's Creed. I'm gonna get it. I have every Assassin's Creed, right? Like I just like the way those games play. Um, but they don't look as Ghost of Tsushima is a gorgeous game. It's one
Yeah.
of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. And this game does not have that color. It doesn't have the pop. It doesn't have the everything looks a little bit desaturated. Um, I guess by design, but yeah, I don't know. It's got some big shoes to fill,
Yeah.
because at least the two of us, at least two of us on this podcast, you can't help but compare it to Ghost of Tsushima.
I mean, for fuck's sake, they even have like the little yellow, like ability meter, like on
Right.
Yasuke's like a HUD that they have. Like I saw that, I'm just like, holy shit! Like, geez,
Right.
like they've got the katana stances and all this other shit. I'm just like, all right, well, if you're gonna copy off of of an open world game, you might as well copy off of one of the better ones over the past decade that's come out. So I guess that's fine. It should be cool. It should be cool. Carrie, why in the world are you excited about Sonic Cross Shadow Generations?
Basically because I like Sonic Generations already. And the added shadow content that they've been highlighting in the trailers looks fun. Um, Shadow plays differently enough from Sonic in a 3D environment, to, I think, give this some degree of freshness to it. You're revisiting uh a lot of the what appears to be a lot of the locales from Shadow the Hedgehog, which is a game that is not good but that I enjoy. Um, so yeah, look, you've basically got a remake of what is ostensibly one of the I'm gonna say one of the top three 3D Sonic games. I think Sonic Generations is a lot of fun and it holds up, and I was actually playing it shortly before the announcement of the remake. At which point I stopped and figured I'm just gonna get the remake. Um, but yeah, it holds up. I hope the remake is solid, and the little bit of like new content that they're doing by the addition of Shadow, I think is I think it's going to be a fun time. So,
Micah, I thought about you a lot over the past couple of days because I was very curious to see. There are basically three beats that happened this weekend with Dragon Age. First of all, we heard that it has a new subtitle. It's now Veilguard instead of Dreadwolf. We saw a positively like Avengers-esque character reveal showing the main class of the game, which I'm sure sent tears of your spine
It was
upon
more
upon.
like it was more like Suicide Squad. The beginning of that movie, if you've never seen that, it's here's Katana. She's got a sword that can cut through anything. Like, all right, all right.
And then today we saw an extended look at some early gameplay from the game, which many people from having the like ability window that you can pop up to do shit, to being able to like squad command, to having a bit more of a free flowing combat, made the comparisons to Mass Effect, positively or negatively. And then we had like a hidden fourth beat where the press talked about the fact that there was like I think it was a private, like a press demo that's like an hour. And a lot of the reaction from the press is like, I don't want to say this too loudly, but I think BioWare might be back, guys. I think they might be back, and then
Polygon did a pretty extensive sort of recap of what's involved with that press preview, and saying that the combat looks exciting and engaging. There's explaining that there is an easy mode if you don't care about combat so much and are really focused more on the story. It starts you right in the middle of the action. Basically, apparently so much of what's being emphasized during this press preview is the game's narrative. The game's really about the companions. Everyone's going to have their own storylines and story arcs. That there's a lot of combat sequences within that first hour, but there's also a lot of really exciting dialogue and that the person at Polygon who did this said that I left excited and even optimistic about getting to know my new group of pals.
But Micah, as the resident Dragon Age super fan on this podcast, how are you feeling? What are your thoughts? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm one of those people that really like Dragon Age Origins. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I think that game is brilliant. And when I played it on PC, you know me, I don't play PC games. I play that game on PC. It's amazing. I love it. That being said, I don't take life too seriously, especially not video games. Like, I want them to be good. Yes, I want to like them, but like, I'm not going to come up here. If I think something looks bad, I'll tell you I think it looks bad, but I'm not going to make a fucking 20-minute reaction video just to scream at the camera about, this looks cartoony. What? What? Like, they've kind of been going this way ever since Dragon Age 2, guys. Like, the art style has been changing to be something like this. But when the trailer came out, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, this looks like Fortnite. It looks like the art style is what it is. I can get by it." And then they were like, "Well, the tone is goofy," and I don't know if the tone of the trailer was as goofy as people are claiming, but it did feel a little like, "Hey guys, oh no, we're going into Veil again, aren't we? Whoa!" Right? Like, it was a bit silly, right? But I keep an open mind. I want to see what the gameplay looks like, and when the gameplay trailer comes out, I see people are like, "So I guess this isn't a tactical RPG anymore, huh?" Like, it hasn't been that way since 2.
Yeah.
It hasn't been that way since Dragon Age 2, guys. So, like, everybody calm down. My first thoughts when I look at the gameplay, I'm like, this looks like Inquisition, but better. And I like that because I like Dragon Age Inquisition. I really do. I that's another game that I play multiple times, all expansions. Really like it. It looks more fast paced. I saw that like you were saying, it looks like you can command your companions through like a Mass Effect style squad system, which I don't know if I really like. I think Inquisition had a very good balance of action and tactical gameplay, and I feel like I feel like I'm going to miss that control, because there are certain things that there were certain ways that you play Inquisition that you set up combos and you use your team in different ways to accomplish certain things, and I kind of want that to be there. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know, but but I'm not exactly um, adverse to the Mass Effect style of squad commands. Um, Look, man, I'm super excited. I was excited for this to begin with. I don't know why people thought like, oh, they changed it from Dreadwolf. I guess Solus not going to be the bad guy
Yeah,
anymore.
he's
Like,
literally.
No, he obviously is.
what the fuck are you talking about, yo? Like, like, everybody just chill, man. Everybody just chill. Like, I know reaction
It's
videos
interesting.
are.
The general manager of BioWare, Gary McKay, actually sort of put out a statement saying that they retitled it because they wanted the title to best reflect that it was more authentic to the companions that are more sort of like the focus of this adventure, rather than keeping the focus on Solus. That he said, we actually think sticking with Dreadwolf would have been the safer choice. Dreadwolf is a cool name after all.
Right,
Um,
right.
but has basically stressed that they worked throughout development to create really detailed, thoughtful backstories for all of the companions that intersect with the main narrative in meaningful ways. So, keeping in mind, I also like Dragon Age.
Yeah.
I played Inquisition like back to back twice. I liked it so much the first time I was like, I got to do that again, and like immediately went back into it. Now keeping in mind I have now not played that game since like early 2016 maybe. So it's been a hot minute, but yeah, I loved Inquisition. Watching this trailer, I'm still keeping the optimism a bit cautious, just knowing how sort of troubled the development of Veilguard has been. Knowing that they laid off like 50 members of the people of the staff that was working on this game midway through development and all of that, that there were some sort of starts and stops over the course of the development. So, I mean, I'm hoping that in spite of the large amount of staff turnover that occurred during the development of this game, that the final product is sort of like worth it. This is definitely one where I'm taking more of a wait and see approach rather than like a definite day one purchase. Just knowing all of that, but I hope that it's really good. I hope that for long suffering BioWare fans that it's good and that it sort of reestablishes the company as one to be reckoned with after a couple, let's be honest, major stumbles for them. So,
I think BioWare has changed to the point where like old school BioWare fans are just not. This is not for them, right?
Mhm.
Like this is the
old school BioWare fans are never going to be satisfied by anything that
right.
company does.
This is the consolification of BioWare, and they're dead and gone. They're dead and dusted in their eyes, right?
Mhm.
I come from the slightly. Those are the baby boomer BioWare
Boom,
fans. Okay,
boomerware fans.
the boomer fans. Thank you. I am very much a Gen X millennial BioWare fan who grew up with KOTOR and Jade Empire and stuff like that, and Mass Effect. That I'm that kind of BioWare fan, and then there are the later BioWare fans that I think will give stuff like this a chance, and I'm in the middle. I'm very much like I am not ready to hate this. I am very optimistic about it. I'm very curious as to where the story's going to go because I feel like this story is very is should be the Inquisitor's story. And to have this brand new person with I'm very much looking forward to all the new characters, but like I want to see where the previous characters have been because like Solus was your guy, right? Like he accompanied you throughout your last journey.
He was your homie, and he fucking betrays the shit out of
Right,
you
and
at
he
the end of
fucking
that.
betrays you, man. And when if you play like all of the DLC,
I
like
want to crack that egg.
yeah,
Like,
man,
I'm
yeah.
sure much like Hawk appeared in
yeah,
Dragon
yeah,
Age
yeah.
Inquisition, that the Inquisitor will appear
I'm
in
sure.
this one. If not, then BioWare is of course an ableist company if the Inquisitor does not show up in Dragon Age Inquisition. So
Jesus Christ.
it's a good place to take a break. We'll be back and we will talk about some more games. So the thing that I'm most happy to see is the fact that we are getting a new Astro Bot game. This was rumored. We weren't sure what it was going to look like, but this is a full-fledged, bona fide new Astro Bot that they have said is going to be at least 4 times larger than the Astro game that came on the PS5 bundle. I would imagine that is the only company that knows how to properly use the DualSense controller to all of its features and abilities. We're going to be chock full of really cool implementations of this, and there's going to be even more Sony franchise references. A lot of people were joking that Sony's really kind of taking the piss by showing us Bloodborne stuff in this game instead of just releasing a new fucking Bloodborne. I can't wait for this. I hope that they do like the timed leaderboards like they did in Astro's Playroom, because it'll be fun to compete with my friends, and it'll be a great reason to finally turn on my PS5 again, aside from Gran Turismo as well. This comes out in September. It kicks ass. I cannot wait to play new Astro. So, Carrie, Monster Hunter Wilds looks very interesting with some of the things they've shown off so far, including like fighting monsters in packs.
Yeah,
So
that's new. Yeah, so I mean, there have been situations where you load into a map, and there's obviously, generally speaking, more than one large monster on the map at a time. And sometimes you have to fight off both of them at once. But this is the first game that I think there's literally like several large monsters of the same species just like there being like square up. Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds looks great. I mean, we've been seeing sort of like this trickle of additional information over the last few weeks. We're starting to see some of the new monster designs, which is really cool. I'm always excited to fight new things in Monster Hunter. What's nice is they did confirm that there's going to be crossplay, which is nice. So crossplay between PS5, Xbox, and Steam. So
and simultaneous release as well, which they've never done.
And
before.
simultaneous release, so that's great. Obviously, I don't think Monster Hunter took off in America until the release of World. Obviously, like, it had a fan base here and whatnot, but it wasn't this sort of like mainstream big game until then. It was very niche ahead of that. So, they've made it pretty obvious that Wilds is basically World 2. So I'm stoked on it. World is great. I loved Rise, but World is great. I've honestly been kind of itching to jump back into World. I have a couple friends who have been going back into World recently, so I might follow suit. And they've been really, like, Capcom themselves has been doing this big push with like the Return to World hashtag with all of this. They like really want people to go back and revisit World ahead of Wilds. So yeah, I mean, I'm stoked. The new NPCs look fun. They've been doing a lot to really show off, what can be expected from the game. So yeah, I mean, they're calling it like the most immersive story in series history and so on and so forth. I don't give a shit about the story. Show me what monsters I'm going to fight. I don't give a fuck about the story in Monster Hunter. I just want to hunt monsters.
There's
like
I saw a YouTube video come up in my recommendations. It's like, oh, like the lore of Monster Hunter. I'm like, why the fuck would I care about that? Like, I just want to go bash things with a hammer. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. I don't need to know about the lore of all of these NPCs. Please just show me Lance gameplay. We've only really gotten gameplay for Greatsword so far, which is typical. They always lead with the fucking Greatsword because it looks impressive because it's a big fucking unga bunga 6-foot sword. But yeah, look, I'm stoked on it. It doesn't, it doesn't come out until next year, but they've been doing a really good job at sort of pacing out the sort of info drops as they continue to work on this game. So yeah.
And like I said, it looks cool. Like I'm curious to see this new weather system they have in the game, like how that impacts your hunts. I think it's cool that your legally distinct chocobo can carry an additional weapon on a hunt with you as well. And if you have like bow guns, you can fire them while you're riding on that thing. So that's pretty neat. I can't wait. I like. Whereas you were thinking about going back to World, I'm just gonna probably starve myself until this game comes out. So I'm just ready to just play it nonstop.
I'm also like, I wouldn't say I'm super itching to jump right back into, like, also keeping in mind that like the remake of the first Monster Hunter Stories game also comes out this week, so I might just want to play that first to get the Monster Hunter itch out of my system, because I really liked Stories too, and I haven't played the first one. But yeah, they did announce earlier today that they will be back at Gamescom with a playable demo of Wilds as well. So hoping that that demo is well received. I'm looking forward to seeing more information. Hopefully some more monsters and whatnot come out of that as well. So
Micah, your thoughts on both a King of Fighters crossover in Street Fighter 6 and Homeless M. Bison joining the cast in Season 2?
I'm looking forward to both of them. This is the first time in mainline Street Fighter history that they've had guest characters, and who better to have in mainline Street Fighter history?
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
And who better to have guest star than not Ken Masters and not Chun-Li?
Exactly.
Terry's
so fucking cool though. Look, I love
Terry,
Terry.
man. Power wave. I love Terry. Who doesn't love Terry? He's got a ponytail and a trucker hat and a vest. Like, he's dope. He's dope. And everybody loves Mai. I mean, there are two real big reasons why everybody loves Mai. And it's exciting. I know people are having PTSD from Elena being announced, because they remember, how Elena essentially has like a life bar and a half with her healing from Street Fighter 4, and it was the bane of many people's existence. But get more black women in fighting games. How about that? More black women characters in fighting games. I will allow it. And Bison, on a personal note, like I hate reading comments, and I don't know why I do it, but I hate reading comments because people are like, well, "Why is Bison back? That makes JP kind of pointless now, doesn't it?" Wah, wah, wah. Like, all of a sudden, people care about Street Fighter lore. Like, get the fuck out of here. No, you don't. Bison is dope.
He's back because he's cool. Shut up.
Right. Right. He wouldn't be back if people didn't want him back. And as a person who fancies himself charge characters, I am super stoked that Bison is back. I've been looking at a bunch of previews and stuff. He's going to be like he's still a charge character, but like he has a couple motion moves, but they make sense. Like his knee press is a motion move now. His Psycho Crusher is not just a fucking super move anymore. Like, it's an actual special move. And he comes in on a horse, guys. He comes in on a horse with his arms crossed because he's fucking dope. So yeah, look, I already have the thing pre-ordered because I said I wasn't going to pre-order stuff anymore, and I'm a liar.
I mean, it's not, you're not pre-ordering it. You're purchasing the second season of characters. That's all. All you're doing. You're buying DLC.
Just like a good enabler, Brad always.
That's right. Just like I am going to purchase the Diablo DLC, so I can have a tiny tiger collecting all of my gold for me as I run around killing things.
I think I need to get back into Diablo.
This season is very good. I'm not going to go into detail this week, but next episode I'm going to talk more about it because I've already leveled 2 characters in this new season, so that's how much fun I'm having. Look, I was very skeptical when we first saw the first gameplay reveal, or not even gameplay reveal, but kind of like the trailer reveal of the new Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It didn't quite have it, and then they showed like an extended like cutscene sort of thing, and it's hitting all the Indiana Jones notes. Like I'm completely bought in. Troy Baker is doing a very serviceable Harrison Ford impersonation. It's got like the John Williams esque score, and it's got all the comedy like humor
all the
beats.
beats.
Yeah,
it's hitting all the beats. My biggest issue with this game is that I would much rather just watch it. I just want to watch it. I just want to. I love Indiana. Who doesn't love Indiana Jones, right?
Nazis.
Well, fuck them. They don't count, right? and the problem is, like, I'm looking at these cutscenes, and then they flash to some gameplay. This is a first person game, which
it's a combination actually. Like it's first and third person at points. They haven't shown a lot of gameplay. That's the only thing I'm a little concerned about. Is they haven't shown a lot of like
that's it
bona fide gameplay.
That's it. That's the thing that has me worried. Like, just watching this trailer, watching this 5-minute like trailer of them in the snow and all that, like, it's hitting all the Indiana Jones buttons, man. And like you said, look, Troy Baker does such a good job. He should have been the voice of young Indiana Jones in that last Indiana Jones movie where he was supposed to be like around 40 but sounded like 80-year-old Harrison Ford, right? Like, this is I want this to be good, and I think the polish is there, but I'm just a little concerned about the actual game in this game.
More to come, I'm sure, on that. Carrie, are you excited with what they showed from the like the class systems for Metaphor ReFantazio?
Yeah, so I mean, Metaphor ReFantazio, for those unaware, it's basically Persona. It's from like the same fucking creative team that did Persona 5. But yeah, I mean, I think what they've shown, a lot more of the recent trailers are really sort of highlighting the differences between this game and the Persona series. So it feels sort of fresh and new enough to very much be its own thing, rather than just being like, oh, here's something from, Katsura Hashino with, Sojima doing character designs and Shoji Meguro doing the music, right? It's like those have sort of been your core 3 on the Persona series for a long time, and to see them do something new and different feels really exciting. So yeah, I mean, I'm stoked on it. I think it looks again, it feels familiar enough as a longtime fan of Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. It feels like a cousin of those games, while still very much being, its own thing. So, and I think the more recent trailers have really done a lot to distinguish it.
We have reached the point of the show where Brad's getting into his indie shit that he has found. The first one, Wanderstop, is a game that has my curiosity. What they showed off of this is it looks like a person kind of running from their former life, and what little they showed looks very slice of lifey, which is not really my thing. But then the trailer ends with like a hint of kind of a darker twist to this game, and it's being made by the person who did the Stanley Parable, which is a really interesting game. If you've not heard of it, you should kind of check it out. Maybe even play it, but if you do play it, try to go in blind, because it's a very, very subversive style of game. So I'm curious to learn more. It doesn't have my attention, but I'm curious to learn more about Wanderstop to see if it's something that's going to be up my alley or not. Micah, are you excited with the direction that they are taking the new Gears in? Instead of Gears 6, we are getting Gears E-Day, a prequel to the entire saga.
Yes, I am. Look, I'm gonna be an old man here for a minute, okay? Those later Gears games with Marcus's son and all that, I don't like them games, man. I don't because I don't like them characters, right? It is Gears, but like Gen Z,
Sort of. It's sort of
and
cute.
right, and look, I hate when people do that, right? Like, cause like I don't like hate young people or whatever, right? Like all these old comedians are like, ah, you can't say shit because yeah, you're gonna offend the millennials. First of all, millennials are in their fucking 40s now, so get a new gimmick, okay, old man. The future is now, old man. All right, but but with this series, I'm an old man a little bit because this this series was very much like walking penises with feelings, right? Like this is this is like insecure heterosexual man the game, right? Like you got this big ass armor and this big ass gun, right? You're fighting aliens and shit. But like as the series from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, like it became sort of a sci-fi Predator meets Band of Brothers. And I really missed it. And then when Marcus's son and all those the new class came around, I don't know. It lost something for me. Like you say what you want about Cliff Blazinski, he's kind of a douche, but but I but he made something special with those first Gears games, and I like that this is going backward. I like that this is kind of showing because look, men are men are not okay. They're not. For some strange reason, like
Uh-huh.
when women are given a hypothetical about like would you like be with a man or a bear? Women are picking the bear and men instead of thinking, "Oh
I
damn,
wonder
well,
what that says about men. They're like,
right."
how dare you?
They're like fuck you then,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
like
Exactly.
what the fuck?
They're
And
reinforcing why we would pick the bear.
exactly. And it's stuff like this, like Gears because men don't have like an emotional outlet, right? And when you see stuff like Gears, it kind of incepts the notion that it's okay for men to have feelings while still being fucking gun toting, alien shooting, armor having, fucking rootin' tootin', bunny killing, fucking men, right? I searched Gears of War E Day in YouTube, and there's literally a guy wiping tears from his face as a reaction to this trailer. Like, what the fuck, yo? like, like, one again, it's not that serious, right?
He just saw
But
Dom and got and just teared up. That's the mystery there. So
and right, and two, like, it's like guys need this. Let them let them have this. I'm one of those guys. I like this stuff. I also like quote unquote girl games. Like what's that game that's coming out? Um the the Life is Strange.
oh,
I
okay.
also like that. I also like that. I love Life
Look,
is Strange.
Life is Strange
So
is good.
it is. It
Very
really
good.
is. So and look, I can be the bridge, right? I like I like fucking gears, yeah, a gun with a chainsaw on it, right? Like and if you like that, maybe try something different too. You might like it. You might like it.
Uh,
I love gears.
UFO 50 is a game that's been on my radar for a little bit. This is made from the same folks that did the Splunky games. This project is they're essentially creating 50 like old school arcade slash NES caliber games, and putting them into one package. And each game is like a full ass game of these 50 games. Like it's not
So
like
you're telling me we're getting a new Action 52.
pretty much, yeah.
Okay,
Pretty much.
sick.
Yeah, it looks sick.
This time, except all of the games will maybe function.
Yes, it
Okay.
looks sick as hell. I can't wait for this. I really liked Splunky 2 specifically. So I'm excited to see what we got here. Micah, your thoughts on Perfect Dark and the fact that they actually showed kind of a little bit of what you're doing in this game, a little bit of gameplay.
Yeah, I'm I Perfect Dark is a franchise that I always wonder why it wasn't like as popular as it I think should be or
Mm-hmm.
could have been. Um, you say what you want about, you know, well, I guess it's a different time now, but like there was a time period in America where the most famous video game character was a British woman. And I'm shocked that like not that Joanna Dark would be like a household name
Mm-hmm.
like Lara Croft is, but I'm surprised that this franchise kind of withered on the vine for a very long time.
I mean, to borrow your joke from
Um,
earlier, there's two big reasons that Tomb Raider made Lara Croft really really popular
well,
that Joanna
yes,
Dark
yes.
didn't necessarily.
Two big pointy reasons
That's
why
right.
Lara Croft was really popular, but anyway, I love we Brad and I do a podcast about spy movies, and I love spy stuff, and I like video games. So this is perfect for me. And it seems like while this looks very much like a you know standard um, borderline on rails first person adventure, first person shooter adventure, I am kind of digging the vibe. Um, I'm digging the whole like clandestine thing.
Mhm.
I hope there's a little more cloak and dagger stuff,
Hmm.
not just not just I want this to be like I want this to be like have some like Hitman elements,
Mhm.
right? Where Hitman is a puzzle game in a spy skin,
Hmm.
and this looks like a first person shooter in a spy skin. I want those two to meld, to mesh. And that's what I'm hoping this game will be. I don't think it will be though, because I feel like you would have seen that in this trailer. I feel like that would be something they would highlight, but
Mhm.
we'll see. It's too early.
I can we talk real quick about how men are reacting to Joanna Dark's new design and how you
Oh,
can
they are?
tell, oh buddy, are they ever.
Again.
Yeah, you've got, it's like,
I've also missed this discourse, so I'm
okay, yeah,
Yes.
unfortunately I have to once again introduce the shitty discourse because I'm the terminally online millennial on this podcast. So basically they're saying that like she looks like she's trans because of the jawline, and they're comparing her new design, which by the way looks like just a significantly up-resed version of her original N64 design, but they're comparing it to what she looked like in Perfect Dark Zero. And
Yeah.
you know that these dudes are fucking grifters because they're now defending Perfect Dark Zero with their whole
Right.
fucking chest.
right.
Fuck out of here, yo.
So,
All right.
ultimately
She looks
they're
like
going back.
she looks like Lucy Lawless. Like, what the fuck? Who gives a shit?
Here's the thing. So her her face model is a model who is a real human woman named Alyssa Bibaud, who again is a real live human woman who has a let's call it a non fucking heart shaped round perfect anime waifu face, right? Because she's an actual human woman, and most human women do not have perfectly round, heart-shaped fucking faces like that. But now you have all these fucking dudes online who are saying, oh, well, the redesign looks terrible when it's closer to what her original N64 design and aesthetic was, rather than this fucking shitty Western anime sort of pop star redesign that they did for Perfect Dark Zero, which I am old enough to remember that when that Perfect Dark Zero came out, nobody fucking liked that design. Everyone went, what the fuck is this? This doesn't look like Joanna Dark. But now you have people fucking putting, you know, the new, again, real human woman design next to the shitty anime nonsense of Perfect Dark Zero and saying, well, this one was better. Like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. The art design of Perfect Dark Zero was pretty universally loathed by the gaming public because it didn't look like the cool, you know, grimy spy shit of the original. So
I googled Perfect Dark 2024 face model.
uh-huh.
One of the links is a YouTube link that I'm not going to click for the sake of my algorithm, and it says Xbox learns nothing, capital letters, pushes quote modern woman, and then it trails off. I don't know what else it says. I'm not clicking it because I don't need that shit coming up in my feed. But wow,
Yeah.
wow,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Holy shit.
So
Good God.
I once again and am asking men to fucking stop. Just for once. Just fucking knock it off.
Holy shit.
You know,
I
think,
can't wait till they all play it, and so they can have more content that they can create about how terrible the character
how
is.
terrible it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think she looks great. I think she looks like she looks now like what she looked like in my head when I was 9 years old playing the first Perfect Dark for the first time. So I think that's what you want, right?
No, Carrie. They are required to have something that they can jerk off to. That's the problem.
If you can't jerk off to an actual model, then there's something wrong with you.
They want someone
All
to
right.
be like they want a woman who's like rail thin
Uh-huh.
and like pizza
Big
face,
titties, big
right? And
titties,
big
no
tits.
face,
But
no waist.
then if that woman like does anything athletic, like punch a man, well, that's impossible.
Mhm.
Well, 'cause she doesn't look like she could beat up a guy. Well, what the fuck do you want, man? What the fuck do you want? Jesus Christ, I know what you want. But God, I want you to say it. God damn.
I mean, look, there's so many other games out there they can play if that's what they want. But
Jesus Christ.
it's nobody ever went broke being mad on the internet. So that's the thing. Last game for me, Possessors is a new game that was announced from Heart Machine, the makers of the Hyperlight games. This is a 2D stylish action combat game that just looks very cool, and I
really like the art direction of this game.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to play it, but I'm a big fan of the art direction.
Look, I mean, Hyperlight Drifter, rather, really fun to play. Hyperlight Breaker looks like it's also going to be really fun to play, so I'm down with whatever combat system these guys want to put together, because generally, so far, they've seemed like they've hit it out of the park by people that have played Hyperlight Breaker as well, that have said that they really like it. So that's a lot of games. The last thing before we get out of here that I want to talk about, and I just want to talk about it because it's worth mentioning with all the bullshit that we're seeing in the industry right now, is we have a couple of companies that seem like they're doing some really cool things. First is Innersloth is launching the makers of Among Us, for those that aren't familiar with the studio, who kind of stumbled on a plutonium mine of sorts with Among Us.
During the pandemic, when it became the social game
Yeah.
for people to play, they announced Outer Sloth, which is basically like a funding arm as a way for Innersloth to sort of give back to the community. They said that a lot of devs don't get the chance they deserve to make their games, so we thought we could help out a bit. Acknowledging that it has been a rough time in the industry lately. So there are apparently 9 titles currently being funded by Outer Sloth. Those being Battlesuit Aces, Project Dosa, Mossfield Archives, Rogue Eclipse, 1 BTN Bosses, Mars First Logistics, as well as new games from the developers of Venba, El Paso, and the developer Cold Blood Inc.
So that's neat. And then a bunch of games I'm not going to play, but still what I think is a cool initiative. So Blumhouse Studios now has a games division where they are going to be focusing on indie horror games. And I was a little skeptical of this because, again, whenever someone wades into the video game pool as a publisher, it just could lead to bad things down the road. But I'm a little bit more optimistic about this endeavor because of like Blumhouse Studios already has kind of a track record in the movie industry of just kind of throwing money at weird indie film projects, horror projects specifically. Like they're specifically a horror house, and just kind of letting their creators cook of sorts and not really worried about return on investment so much. And they seem to be applying that same mindset towards games. They already have 6 games in the hopper, which they say are coming out like sooner than you may think. And all, even though they're all horror themed, all 6 games look very different from one another, which I think is really cool. So, interesting times ahead, I think, for indies. And I really do think that indies are going to be driving a lot of the future innovation and future growth of this business, at least in the short term, as AAA developers and publishers get a little bit more gun shy about spending hundreds of millions of dollars on potential flops because the market is so very volatile right now. So to see companies doing what they can to help support indie development, especially in the case like Outer Sloth, where they're just like, look, we have more money than we know what to do with right now. Like, this makes the most sense. Instead of building our studio up and out and making it unsustainable, like, let's filter that money back into the grassroots of the game industry and get other cool stuff out there, which I think is a really good way to go about your business. So I just wanted to mention it because I thought it was really cool, and I think a nice, hopeful story. Instead of talking about layoffs on the show this week, since we have Summer Game Fest to celebrate. That's it. No post office this week because we knew we'd have a lot of stuff to cover. Again, don't forget to follow all the other TNP Studio shows, and also you premium members out there. Our old premium server host, Podbean, decided on a whim to just eliminate premium shows, so we have migrated all of those onto Spreaker. If you need instructions or help accessing those premium shows, if you were a premium member before, you do have to re-sign up on Spreaker. You can go to the Dense Pixels Discord, which is at densepixels.com/fans. Sign up and join there. Jay has put some posts on how to sign up on Spreaker so that you can continue enjoying premium shows. Unfortunately, Spreaker does not let you do the yearly option, but it is still just $5 a month to subscribe to all of the premium podcasts. So make sure you check that out when you get a chance. That is it for us this week. Thank you guys very much for watching and listening, and we will see you all the next time.
See ya.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.